is James. I am the author of Bytecode Studio, and this is Bytecode Studio's desktop version. Guess we'll get right on into it. I'm going to open up a file, ride movie, whatever, .hpc. This is a micromobility application for like scooter and bike rental. It's got a mobile app that was obviously built in React Native, and this is a really fun app to test on because it's loaded with a lot of interesting functionality. It's some of the new functionality that we have here in Bytecode Studio itself. We have a settings window where you can adjust the default settings for like the editor, the UI scale, if you need more space, less space, you want to zoom in, whatever. Then we have themes. So if you want to change up your theme a little bit, swap between light mode, dark mode, then you are free to do that, or just default to system. This all gets saved to your like home directory. We also have the ability to add regular expression patterns directly in here. This gets created on your file system, also within your config directory. So these patterns, they persist through all of the different projects that you're working on. So if you have some really good patterns that are effective for you, then no extra config. I have a concept of like a signature system. It's kind of like Flirt. It's a little bit more comprehensive though, and very, very specific to React Native Hermes and Metro. Not going to give away too many secrets there, but these are going to be stored in the SDB directory within your home. Obviously, you can see here I have an MCP server that's running locally within the process of this application. And we have some skills. This is just like a generic placeholder, but you can just edit this and it persists, and then it automatically gets injected into the MCP server context. MCP server, you have to explicitly start it. It doesn't just start up automatically, and when you do start it, you are given a bearer token, and this changes every single time. So, see, B1, B2, yada yada. This is the endpoint, so it listens just on this machine. Generally speaking, it's fairly secure. It does not have any write operations at all. Like this thing cannot touch anything on your file system. It can just read. So fairly secure as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to be paying a company to look over the code as well, find any gaps that I've missed. So we have the MCP host server here. I'm just going to go ahead and paste in this auth token right here, and then I guess I'll go ahead and just write it, and then we'll launch up Ollama with Qwen 3.5, 35B, A3B. This is a censored model, so if you're trying to do bug hunting or something like that with it, it will probably give you a little bit of a hard time. And I do have Ollama running right now. I'm bad at all things AI. Don't know what I'm doing here. Don't really use stuff like this, but I think I have it set up properly. I imagine that anybody that knows what they're doing will be able to move a lot more quickly and have a much nicer, more fluid setup. So let's start a Bytecode Studio session. Tell me what app I have loaded up. Go ahead and close that. Let it do its thing. And while that is thinking, again, this is a local model. If we were using something remote like Opus, Sonnet, whatever, it would obviously be a lot faster. So we can look over all of the functions here. Look over this global function. So we can see the Metro modules here. Oh, we got a. All right, so this very much is in my Hermes TS path. That's my demo folder, and that's my project folder for the web version. Neat. All right, so we currently have ridemovie.hpc loaded in the Bytecode Studio. This appears to be a Metro bundle file from a demo project at blah, blah, blah. Also shows the recently loaded ones. So let's just let's just tell it to do something interesting. Let's see. I already know a lot about this application, so let's just go and look at this Metro module right here. I know that this handles encryption for unlocking Bluetooth devices and stuff. So this is demonstrate the fact that that it can interact with the UI, I guess. Navigate to function 5413 in the UI. All right, so we have global open right now. Let it do its thing. Again, this will be very, like, just way, way faster if you're using Claude or, you know, a remote model that you're actually paying money for. Oh, and hey, look, it opened up function 5413. I have peeking enabled. I kind of stole it from Visual Studio Code and a bunch of other applications. This asterisk here means that the tab will be replaced as you navigate around. If you double click it, then obviously it hangs out. All right, so this is just kind of going hard over here. All right, so you know we can look at function 5413. We'll close out with the right. Let's go and decompile it real quick. All right, so this is obviously the string shuffling key generator. I already know that it uses crypto.js further down. I'm just going to say, explain to me exactly what function 5413 does in detail. Yeah, let's do that. Let that work so I don't have to. While that is doing its thing, I can show you the cross references. So again, this is a Metro module. It's a factory function, so we know that it's obviously instantiated, and that module ID is registered directly within the global function. This is the main entry point for pretty much every React Native application. What you'll see in the scope is usually things like polyfills, obviously the Metro bundler registration and definition harness. Sometimes you'll see other things take over that global scope, like Sentry, because Sentry wants to greedily capture all you know, exceptions and stuff. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we don't care about that. There's obviously a bug in the IR tool. Was not there a few minutes ago. Ignore the IR. Continue analyzing function 5413. All right. Yeah, so we were showing the cross references. Obviously, you can like click on it from here and just go right back to it. You can visualize, try, and catch, like exception handlers. That's fun. Oh yeah, we can do a deep trace. That'll be fun. So the deep trace will actually analyze like everything it can about a particular Metro module. That means that it tracks its creation, it being stored to an environment, which every closure, every function, it has its own bespoke environment, just like regular JavaScript. It's tracked a little bit differently within Hermes, but that's fine. It tracks exports, whether or not it's passed as an argument, if properties being set, whatever. So I can see the tracing just as factory function goes all the way down, and it starts showing where it's actually being used. So I can see that it's assigning to the property Bluetooth or Bluetooth low energy password. So I can just go ahead and go like that. And there we go. So it looks like it's getting this value from that object. So it's calling that function, getting that value. Okay. All right, and then we can see here, there's some API endpoints. This looks to be some kind of interceptor. where if any of these routes are called, or if any of these routes are present within the path, then it assigns the Bluetooth Low Energy password to the encrypt function with the Bluetooth password. Okay, yeah. Then it appends the secondary part of the key. Looks like the same thing here. All right, it's just basic JavaScript. Let's go back to our MCP. Module has a deobfuscation mechanism. Yep, we already know all about that. Okay. Encryption function takes 2 arguments. This is correct. Also correct. These are computed values. Initialization logic. Yep, so deobfuscates those static keys. Glad to know that you think this is fascinating, Qwen. All right, crypto operations uses AES decryption with ECB mode and PKCS7 padding. That's correct. Check some validation. All right, so let's just go ahead and get a visual on exactly what that is. So we know up here it's module ID number 495. Let's go to the Metro modules. Oops, hate that. Go to 495. Let's go ahead and tap that. Look at that. So we can see it is accepting module ID 459 as a dependency, and then it is being used in the main entry point, like the main module. That's what scaffolds up the React Native application. That's normal. Pretty much everything will be used there, unless it's like deeply nested. 461 and 496. Now these are most likely going to be those service functions that we already looked at. So like 5138 and 5421. 54, yeah, 5421. So this is within that same space. Yeah, 5418. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Initialization logic, we already covered that. Module analysis. Blah, 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 blah. Rotates an array of 20 string literals until the checksum equals blah, blah, blah. We already traced this. We already know where it's being called. Let's see. So we can actually say, we can go back to function 5413. We'll go back to where it sets that. So 5115. It looks to be used in function, is it 5415? 5115. In function 5115, give me a breakdown on how and an example curl request. I don't know if the curl request thing is actually going to work. This is it's all new to me too. We're learning together. So while we do this, I can show you the strings. Pretty much the same functionality as the web version, except this one's a lot faster. You can filter by strings or identifiers. Identifiers are usually like function names or object keys, and strings are just random strings. Function index. Just tell it ignore errors. Continue. This model's not very good. We can do the same thing with arrays. We can look for strings and arrays. Open up the data viewer. So that looks to be some sort of, this is probably used for URL validation or something like that. Boring, boring, boring. Don't care about that. So we're going to do API dot. This is one of my favorite tests to do because this just shows their cloud inherit key, their secret, their app key, whatever. We can also look at all patterns. I ship this binary with a lot of different patterns. So we can deselect all, file path. A lot of the API routes get caught in here too, just because it's impossible to discern between the two. But you can just look for cross references directly from here. Tap it, it'll show you exactly where it is. These are interesting headers. Go back to string analysis. And search for something like admin. Nah, nothing. Login, maybe. Actually, image upload. That looks interesting. There we go. God, it's cloudinary. That's boring. But we do have their secret, so we could potentially upload files there, or depending on how it's scoped, maybe we could view files. I have no interest in it. I'm pretty sure this application has been picked apart by a few different researchers, and all of these have been fixed, so whatever. Let's see. So let's go ahead and just show all emails. Okay, that's Ride Movo. I'm unfamiliar with that one. Movo build machine. So let's just my headset just died there. That's always fun. I'm not playing any music. It's trying to save battery. Let me look at where this is built. This looks fun. Oh, that's a reCAPTCHA key. Okay, yeah, cool. So this just creates the object for like the base config. I should look into that. But yeah, this is their looks like their reCAPTCHA key. Or that's their GCP. That might not be good. This is their reCAPTCHA key. I should probably look into that. Yeah, this should have also been caught in the patterns. Oh, you know what? No, I didn't include that. Yeah, okay. Oh, that'll be a pattern that I'll add. There we go. Yeah, it's only really used there. So GCP key, set GCP key, and GCP key. All right, so we can see where it's actually being used. This looks like it is for their maps. All right. Then it gets set. Don't know if I'll be able to do the JSX on this, but we'll try. Yeah, this output's a little wonky. This is an older version of Hermes, but you can get some of it here. This is going to be a lot easier to pull out at runtime. That's fine. We're going to disable that. Another thing that I have included in this, I'm not going to demo it right now, but yeah, so looking at 495, I have the ability to just generate hooks. So we have our agent code here. I currently have this, this isn't like functional, it's functional on the web version. I need to work on my template for this because I found a better hooking mechanism. Yeah, we can set logs, or well, you can log mutate. So if any of these exports from this metro module are reassigned, then yeah, you'll get a stack trace and a log, and you can also hook it at that point. Same if it's read, if it's accessed, same thing if it's called. And stack traces are really useful because it shows the exact call chain relative to like the binary itself. So you get the actual addresses of the functions, function names, and whatever else. So it's kind of like the deep tracing thing, except it's a little bit more accurate because it's what's actually happening at runtime. Also give you, PowerShell and an sh script, shell script to do it. You can obviously populate com.blah, and then that'll populate. You can save all of them, you can copy them, whichever one's active. Let's go back to our MCP. Production credentials exposed. The config module has, okay, I didn't ask about that. Crypto utility function. Come on. Support locale. My God, this thing was just going hard. Which I think it was like 5115. Huh. Looks like this model just ignored what I told it to do. Okay, interesting. But yeah, so this model is garbage, or maybe I'm just using it wrong. But yeah, it did get a lot of things correct. I did try this with Claude using Opus 4.6, and it just one-shotted the encryption routine in just a couple minutes and produced a usable, reproducible JavaScript function that I could run directly via Node or in my browser, and have those encryption keys. Would you like me to call? Yeah, I'm just gonna say print out all API routes. Um, yeah, let's do that. Had to cough. Um, yeah, I don't really know what else to show everybody. We do have we have our console. So just like, whoops, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, so info, header. Um, I'm gonna I would like to have like an embedded Python or JavaScript interface here. I need to talk to a few people to see how useful that would be. I think it'd be probably a little bit more useful to just expose the MCP server as like an API and let people script things that way. Um, I guess they technically can do that already. Um, but yeah, let me know what you think in the comments or via email, contact at bytecodestudio.com, or just DM me on LinkedIn, Telegram, Discord, whatever. Um, Use the contact form on the site. Just talk to me. Deep trace. I think of what else. Um, this all works fine. I don't have notes functional right now because it was like a server only feature. Um, but the notes will be saved to your project directory. Every HPC file will get a project directory. That's interesting. Okay. This is just doing work. Um, Future features. I would I would really like to be able to link this up with ADB and be able to hook applications live and in real time. Um, I was also thinking about potentially trying to link it up with a JADX GUI MCP server. There's a pretty good one out there with a lot of stars, but I also don't want to rely too much on external software. This whole thing is just very, very generic, very easy, easy to use. Um, it's pretty fast. The UI is the slowest thing about it because it's React. I can optimize it a bit more. Um, but it's not really. I don't know. It's not a bad piece of software. pretty proud of it, to be honest. Um, if you think about how things were done previously, uh, you didn't get an interface like this. You didn't get any kind of syntax highlighting when dealing with Hermes bytecode. You couldn't follow cross references. You didn't get like the destructuring of data and like live values and computed values updated. If you don't know the bytecode format, this is obviously very valuable. You can see uh, get deep or get by ID short. It's just like a short integer, um, like getting an object key essentially. So we're just getting the default create element thing. I showed a little example here. Um, there's a lot of just little creature comfort features. So if I were to click on this function, okay, this function looks interesting. Um, I want to look at all the other ones. I could just click all the other functions that are embedded within this particular module, starting with the factory function, which is noted here. I guess the only thing I don't really have right now is searching for decompiled um, like values. So if you wanted to search like JSON.stringify, I don't have that set up yet. But if you wanted to, um, you could just decompile and export and then search that way. Um, I can also make it a feature where just I decompile a bunch of the functions, or I just normalize different instruction groups, because generally speaking, there's not a lot of gaps between like JSON instruction setup and stringify or parse. They're usually fairly sequential, and I can add some little like fuzzy logic, I guess, to make sure that they're correlated properly and drill down that way. We can do a nice test. So with how the decompiler works right now, um, if I were to decompile this function, and again, this is a massive function. It's 75,000 bytes. Um, like it can do it, but it's probably going to make the UI lag a little bit more. And right now it's a little bit laggy because I'm running this model locally. Like I only have 32 gigs of RAM here. But you know what? Let's just try it. I think that would be a little bit fun. So I'm just going to decompile it, see what happens. All right, it says down here this is decompiling the function. Wow, actually that was surprisingly quick. Again, this is a 75,000 byte file. This is essentially the entire application. Um, yeah, so we have line numbers here. Okay, yeah, that's a significant amount of data there. Huh. There we go. Loading again. There we go. Have to use your password. Okay, what are we doing over here? Oh my lord. So MCPHost terminal stuff appears to be a little bit buggy, or maybe I have it misconfigured. But at the end of this, it should just rewrite the table. It's bad cursor positioning or something. I don't know. But again, it's just is doing all that in the background while I poke around the application a little bit. And by application, I mean ridemovie.hpc. Um, I'm going to go ahead and just close the global function, free up a little bit of memory there. This is just going hard. I don't know why people run models locally. It's catching a lot though. Um, I can just clip this whole thing out, this section, while it's running. I guess that's what I'll do. Or maybe I won't. Oh, it's noon on Sunday, and I have things to do. Maybe I'll just fire and forget, throw it up in the internet. Mm-hmm. These filters. I've already shown off a bunch of these filters in my other video, and I don't think much has changed. I'm going to resize these so they're a little bit cleaner. There's a few things I don't like about this application. Um, One, some of the mouse events, I think it's not super clear if you can resize something when you hover it. Selecting stuff like that, CSS highlight stuff is annoying and doesn't really lend itself to a native feel. I don't really want to get rid of it though. Yeah, I'll probably just make it a little bit more subtle because I do think that there is some value in being able to just like right click and copy uh, arbitrary UI values. Oh, and this is done. Okay. Toolrats discovered 90 plus API endpoints across 15 service categories. The API appears to be constant. Yep, that's right. Correct, correct, correct. Okay. Um, I really don't want to resize it because I think it'll break it. No, okay, it won't. Okay. Um, yeah, I've looked at this app a ton, and all of this looks very good. Um, I believe that this application was built by a Taiwanese company, so I imagine there's probably some artifacts left over from that. Oh, upload parking photo. That probably. I wonder if that passes in the Cloudinary secret. All right, I'm thinking like a bounty hunter right now. Temp. Interesting. Temporary API endpoints that are probably still active. But yeah, so you get a fairly comprehensive breakdown. I could probably tell it to generate a very basic JavaScript client function which allows me to log in program. I misspelled that, whatever. Um, Let that do its thing. Let it cook. What else could I show you? It was very ad hoc. I didn't plan anything except just to show off the MCP a little bit. Um, the console's like, honestly, I think the console is probably a little bit of a waste of space. I either need to make this more useful or I need to get rid of it entirely. Um, Need to fix notes up a little bit. Um, the I will say the deep trace functionality is super, super cool. Um, if you are looking for like deep links, if you're looking for like web view usage, if you're looking for like how encryption is set up, like we did here, like where it's actually called from, um, super, super useful. And also very hard to do programmatically. I don't want to like toot my own horn or anything, but um, I had to leverage multiple parts of my decompiler in order to even uh, figure out how to do that. Because like the data structures in the Hermes bytecode just don't exist to allow you to do that easily. You have to also build out a harness for the Metro module, like bundling process as well. Uh, so yeah, this is the result of a lot of hard work and coffee. Um, Show another one. And also, it's very fast. This iterates through every single instruction in the entire application, and it prioritizes based on Metro module dependencies, export usage, and all that. Okay, what is, yeah, property and depth. Access the exports. Hmm. Really wish it would just like update instead of doing all of this. But whatever. MCPHost is not my tool. It's a random GitHub thing. Um, I am using Ollama and MCPHost. All right, looks like it's done. Inspect the actual one. See, this right here, this is a good note, but it's also not really an issue for us for most applications. Um, just like heresy, you can hook, you just inject JavaScript before the app loads or even after it loads. And then you can hook the fetch function, the XML HTTP request. React Native by default actually has an intercept module config, or you can just hook and override it and then print all values that get sent out. Um, and that's if the network requests are actually being done within the React Native, like the Hermes VM. I've seen native modules be used where it gets pushed back up to the like Java, Kotlin, like Android layer, and I've also seen it push it all the way up to native libraries. So, and that's usually for like signing requests and stuff. Um, but if you want to know exactly what the payload is within here, if you want to disable the certificate pinning, if you want to change the API endpoint or anything else like that, then you can just hook and override with a basic JavaScript interceptor. Super, super easy. You can look at my GitHub for heresy. It's github.com/pilfer, pilfer/heresy. Um, I and also on pilfer.github.io on that page. I have a blog post where I show exactly how to do it when I first started doing the React Native Catalyst implementation. Okay. Um, yeah, token format, PRJVT. I'm a little disappointed in this model for not being able to pull that out. That was pretty obvious, but you know that's just a limitation of running a model locally, I guess. Um, yeah, let's look at the blah blah blah. Get user by ID. Interesting. I can hear one of my cats flipping out here. Sorry if you can hear that. Yeah, this all looks pretty good. But yeah, so like I didn't have to do any of this thinking at all. I already have done a bit of this thinking. Um, but yeah, it just did that locally for free for me, and I didn't have to do a single thing. Um, yeah, and this just like kind of comes with this application. Um, I can do a lot more with the Hermes binary format or bytecode format. Um, I can do a lot more uh, with like the module identification. So, and I can't show you that quite yet. Needs a little bit more work, but I am able to identify third-party libraries such as Crypto.js, Moment, Luxon, just like anything like React Native Web View, React Navigation, a lot of software mansion components and stuff like that. Um, and then I can like just say, hey, like this has been identified. We know that all of this comes from the React Native Core library. We'd say like, you know, this one's Lodash, this one's crypto, whatever. And then you'll actually be able to filter out specific modules based on whatever criteria. Or if you're looking for a certain version of something, then you could absolutely use this MCP to just simply ask, like, hey, I know that module ID number 1337 is crypto.js. I need to know if it is crypto.js version, you know, 456. If it is, that has a vulnerability. Tell me if it is or not, or tell me if this is vulnerable. Um, so, like from a blue team perspective, you're doing AppSec internally, also very useful. I'm going to be well with how everything is set up right now. The MCP does provide you with all of the exports, all of the strings, and everything that you would need to actually identify whether or not something is a specific version of a library. Um, you know, you get the decompiled code, you get the IR, you get control flow, you get the bytecode, you get the strings, you get the number of parameters. Um, and yeah, like you can do a lot with the MCP server, or yeah, MCP server and this application. Um, but yeah, frankly I don't really know what else to talk about. Um, let's try secrets. I think these are the old secrets in the old format. This might not work. Yeah, it didn't work. Those regular expressions are, and that data structure is incorrect. Um, yeah. That's probably a bug, by the way. Oh no, no patterns. That's why. I'm gonna go ahead and go back and double check the category here. Yeah, let's do secrets. Just secrets. Yeah. Okay. No, I was right. Was I? Yeah. Yeah, I was right. Um, yeah. So I need to fix that. But yeah, when this ships, you will get all the normal patterns from all of the open source libraries. They'll be categorized, and I'll just borrow their uh, ranking, critical, high, low, whatever. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it right now. Get an MCP, get a really good decompiler, um, the most visually appealing bytecode viewer with all the jump labels in the world with navigation. The MCP can actually show you, like your LLM can show you specific functions that it finds interesting. Um, so you can say, hey, like open up function. Let's do that again. Navigate to function 1337. So do that. We're at blah 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 blah. So we can just be over here doing something else. Yada yada yada. Pop open the settings. Man, this model's really bogging down my computer. I don't know if I like this one. Um, I mean, you've already seen this functionality. You know it works. I think maybe I'm just doing a little bit too much processing. Um, that is wild. Come on. Do I interrupt it? It's a learning experience for all of us. Hi? Yeah. Alright, apparently MCPHost kind of sucks. Um, there's probably something better. I've seen something called like LLM Studio or something. Um, there's probably like better CLI clients too. This is just something that's open source that I looked at. It was written in Go. I reviewed the source code and installed it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you. Bye.